When the sun goes down, the stars come out. From deep in the heart of Texas, it's the Star at Night. Coming to you from the Cowboys facility at the Star in Frisco. With your hosts, Kelsey Charles and David Hellman.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Star at Night. I'm Kelsey Charles, joined by David Hellman. David, it is another week in the books, and we are all well aware of the offensive line struggles this Dallas Cowboys team is facing, but we don't quite have some clarity in the situation heading into week 4. The Cowboys and the Jones family spoke about whether or not Tyron Smith would be returning and the status of La'el Collins, but I think everyone left with more questions than they had before. What's the latest?
I'm just gonna throw out a hot take for you, Kelsey, and it's a bummer, and you're not gonna like it. Nobody's gonna like it because it's sad. But we're entering into an era where the Dallas offensive line just isn't what it was, and I think people have realized that for a while. But it's more obvious than ever before. This is not a great wall. It's not to say it's a bad offensive line. It just isn't that stalwart unit that we're so used to talking about from 4, 5, 6 years ago. La'el Collins doesn't sound like he's on his way back from injured reserve anytime soon. Cowboys not ruling out the possibility of surgery. Tyron Smith, we know he's missed 2 games dealing with neck stingers. I feel optimistic he could play in this game against Cleveland, but again, you're talking about 3, 4 years where injuries have kept Tyron out of the lineup for weeks at a time. If everybody's healthy, this thing still looks pretty good, but that is clearly not the case heading into yet another game against some decent pass rushers. Maybe you've heard of Myles Garrett.
Yeah, he's pretty good at what he does. So talk to me about some solutions then, since we don't have clarity. Let's go ahead and solve the problems for the team as we always do. Zach Martin made a debut at tackle for the first time since college, I believe. So I wasn't expecting that. And if you were, then please call me because I need some help picking my lottery numbers for this week. But the lineup at the end of last game was Brandon Knight, left tackle, Connor Williams. Tyler Biadasz made his debut at center, even took over some of the calling for pass protection, so that was good. Joe Looney, right guard, Zach Martin on right tackle. So are you good with that lineup? It seemed to hold up until at least the end of the game, or are you kind of thinking that, do you want to do Brandon Knight at right tackle if Tyron comes back? Connor, actually, I know he played some tackle in college himself. Where's your head at in terms of the best lineup for this offensive front going into the weekend?
I'm going to throw up a prayer to the football gods and say, Tyron, I hope that you are available against the Browns. And if he is, I think this thing is pretty straightforward. I think you can play Tyron. You move Brandon Knight to right tackle. I thought he had a pretty nice day in Seattle. I'm not worried about that. You can kick the best guard in football, Zach Martin, back to guard. But by the way, just further making his case for going to Canton and the Pro Football Hall of Fame one day, playing tackle so seamlessly. Tyler Biadasz is interesting. I'm interested in seeing what he can do at center, but I'm not ready to bench Joe Looney if everything else is fine. So if Tyron's available, that's what I'm doing. If he's not, then maybe we're talking about another scenario where Zach Martin's got to play tackle. I'm going to wait and see what's up with Tyron, though, because if he's available, then I'm not stressed nearly as much as I would be.
So offensive line, again, obviously a stressing point for this Dallas Cowboys team. But the secondary, yeah, there's an issue there too. We're going to go ahead and talk with a guy who has experience playing in that area. Barry Church coming up next.
What's up, guys? I'm Ember Garcia and just want to invite you to check out Cowboys Break every day at 11:30 a.m. You got the boss man, Derek Eagleton. You got Nick Eman with the storytelling If These Walls Could Talk. You got David Hellman, our local LSU homer and eyebrow rubber. And then you got me, who just calls it as it is. So make sure to check us out at 11:30 a.m. on all Dallas Cowboys platforms.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Star at Night with Dave and Kelsey. Kels, we have gotten into the Cowboys' secondary problems, specifically the safety play. So what better opportunity to bring in a familiar face, a dear friend of ours, my former Cover 4 co-host, Barry Church, joining the program. Number
Hey.
42 in your program, number 1 in my heart. What's up, my guy? How you doing?
I feel like this is when we play like the Take Me to Church. Like that was like what always happened whenever you had to play. Like we need to bring it back right now.
We should, man. We should have had that thing queued up, man. It would have been awesome.
We can't afford the licensing for that. Let's be very honest, okay? But Barry, listen, we're gonna dive right into him. I mean, former Cowboys safety, the last great Cowboy safety in my very biased opinion.
Thank you. You're making me blush, man. You're making me blush.
I mean, when you see some of these coverage lapses, I mean, what are you as a former player, and for that matter, your co-host on the Players Lounge on DallasCowboys.com, Danny McCray, 2 safeties. I mean, what's going on back there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I'm seeing back there, but for the most part, I think it comes down to 2 things with the safeties back there. It's communication and it's eye discipline. I mean, on a lot of those big time throws, the one where Lockett was about 20 yards away from everybody, and DK Metcalf, a lot of those throws were wide open due to the safeties, their eye discipline, and they're just not communicating with that corner. I feel like they were in a cover 4 in that situation. And if anybody knows cover 4, usually that deep of a route and having it 2-man like that, only a 2-person route, usually you get a double team between the corner and the safety. But with that eye discipline, being caught in the backfield on those play actions, allowed the receiver to get over top. And so I just think the main 2 things with these safeties they have to improve on, it's got to be the eye discipline and it's got to be the communication with the back end.
So obviously there's been a lot of talk about this new coaching staff coming in, obviously a new defensive coordinator to boot. Talk about some of the adjustments that it might take for this secondary to be truly learning a new scheme. How much do you put on them adjusting to this new play calling? How much do you put on maybe lack of preseason? Where's your head at in regards to those elements affecting their gameplay?
Yeah, I think it goes 50-50 in that regard. I mean, the lack of preseason, this was a basically abbreviated whole offseason. I mean, there was no OTAs, no mini camp, and the training camp. They didn't have preseason games. It was just all abbreviated. And to put on top of that, you have a whole new coaching staff coming in, bringing their whole new scheme in with Mike Nolan. And his defense it's pretty hard to get a hold of. I mean, it's multiple, it's different looks here. You got different packages for different people. So it's pretty hard to get a hold of that, let alone having an abbreviated offseason with that. So I think that had a lot to do with it. Plus, this secondary is young. There's a lot of new pieces in and out there. So it's going to be pretty difficult for this team to kind of gel together and get after this defensive scheme. But overall, I like the fight that I see in them. They just got to play a little bit better.
I think you can offer a really unique perspective on this. Obviously, you spent a long time in the NFL. Training camp is typically when you're learning this stuff, you're installing it, you're figuring it out. Isn't it? I mean, it's obviously a lot different when you get into the Monday to Sunday grind of the season. How difficult is it to get a handle on a playbook and sort of really get that muscle memory going when you're in the grind of playing a game planning for the upcoming opponent, and all the distractions that kind of accompany you, during a game week?
Oh, it's extremely, extremely difficult. I mean, you use that whole off season, especially with a new scheme coming in. You would use that off season of OTAs and minicamp to pretty much fine tune that playbook, to try to get it to know it like the back of your hand. And for now, these guys in this young secondary, especially, they're going into regular season games like it's a preseason. They don't know what's going on out there. A lot of the calls are pretty much terminology got to be a lot different than what they had with Marinelli. So I think it'll be extremely difficult for them to get a hold of this playbook without any preseason games, without any live action going into the regular season. So I can see where they're struggling a little bit, but they got to be able to pick it up, because this season, I mean, it's still young, but we don't want it to get away from us quick.
It seems like secondary hasn't been a priority for this teams in terms of drafting, at least in recent years. And then there's been a lot of calls for free agency help. I know several names out there. We know them all too well. And it comes out this week that this coaching staff and front office, they seem to be content. At least they're saying they're content with the players they have in place. Where's your head at in terms of reinforcing the guys on the field with someone off the street?
Well, when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, I can see where they're, saying, hey, we're good with promoting from what we have inside. I mean, we know the reinforcements, they might not be back this week, but they're coming, and Lyle Collins and Tyler Smith and those guys. But on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, For me personally, I got to see us get someone from the outside. I mean, that was a glaring hole last week against Seattle at the safety position. I know that, like I just said, they're trying to learn and everything on the fly. But for me, I think you kind of need that veteran presence back there to kind of calm everything down and kind of say, get these guys in order, get them lined up. Because like I said earlier, I think a lot of the big plays happen because of miscommunication. Now, I'm not 100% sure if those guys we mentioned earlier are going to come out here and join the boys, but I think it would be a significant upgrade and help kind of settle down this offense if they had a veteran presence back there at the safety. But we shall see.
Just to be clear, we made this joke on Cover 4 a few times last year, but like your phone's not ringing, right?
Yeah.
Nah, it's been blank. I mean, you don't want these bones out there.
You can tell us. We won't tell anyone.
It would not.
I think 42 is still available. So
oh yeah, we can get you 42. We can get you going.
I know some people. I know some people.
I got about 5 good plays for him, man. That's about it. Maybe 1 or 2 kickoffs, man. That's about it.
I do think that's really interesting though. I mean, you're not that far removed from playing, obviously. And now, like I mentioned, you do a podcast with Danny McCray, the Players Lounge for us, and you've been doing pre and post game. And 3 years ago, you're the guy that we're talking about. We're like, what the hell is Barry Church doing out there? And now it's your job to talk about it and criticize those guys when you feel like it's fair. What's that transition been like for you, especially since I know, you're still friends with a decent number of guys that are on this roster?
Oh man, it's difficult. It's difficult to kind of go out there and critique. Usually most of the time I'm on the player side and kind of making excuses for them. But overall, I mean, it's hard because, like you said, I know a lot of those guys are still on the team, and it's hard to go out there and say, "Man, what are you doing? Look, you can't be looking in the backfield. You're out there getting roasted and toasted." Because I don't want those guys to hit me up like, "Man, what are you doing? I thought we was boys." But I mean, at the end of the day, they got to know it's a job, and I got to do what I got to do. So hopefully that won't affect our friendship, but it is kind of difficult to pretty much critique those boys out there.
Well, I have to say, one of your friends, Brandon Carr, is back in the mix, and I have found that quite interesting. I was shocked to see him, A, just back, and then B, on the practice squad. Have you got a chance to talk to him about the adjustment of, A, just coming back to Dallas and then trying to find a way to fit into this secondary?
Yeah, I mean, for him, it wasn't that bad because, he lives down here in Texas. He lives over in McKinney. So it wasn't like, like he was gone. He had to come back and, find a new place to stay, anything like that. So the transition for his family was also a lot better because, they were down here while he was up in Baltimore. But just coming back, I mean, he sees some familiar faces down there. We played with Anthony Brown and those boys, but a lot of those guys are, 5 and 8 years younger than him. So he feels like the grandpa out there. But when he's out there playing, I still see the same 3'9". He still has that calm demeanor about him. So hopefully he can get out there and help this secondary calm down.
I love it.
You make sure you tell B. Carr, like, a fun thing about retiring is you go from being ancient to being like young again. Like, you're a young guy now that you're not playing anymore.
This is true. And then you also get a lot of golfing in. I mean, I don't know if he's a golfer or not, but when you retire, the golfing gets a lot better. I'm telling you.
Silver linings.
I assume you have a tee time to get to, but Barry, it was really great having you on, man. Great to see your face. I haven't seen you since last season ended, so thank you so much for taking the time. Guess what? I know the Cleveland Browns have the loser's reputation, but the talent in this matchup is a lot closer than you would imagine. We'll get into it after this.
Hi guys, Mickey Spagnola here, and if you want the best analysis on the Dallas Cowboys during the season, join us every day during the week on Mix Shots. We come on at 1:30 on DallasCowboys.com and all the other Dallas Cowboy platforms. I'm on there every day along with Bill Jones and former Cowboys cornerback Everson Walls, who gives us a unique perspective on the team, having played this game and having led this team in interceptions for several years. So don't forget, it's Mix Shots daily, 1:30 on DallasCowboys.com.
All right, now that we've gone ahead and solved all of the Dallas Cowboys problems, we're going to go ahead and play a game of Would You Rather? David, this is Dallas Cleveland Browns edition. Are you ready?
I was born ready. Hit me.
Great. We're going to go ahead and start off with your favorite topic. Non-triggering, of course, as always. Would you rather the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Dakota Prescott, or Baker Mayfield?
I'm old enough to remember when this wasn't even an argument in Baker Mayfield's favor. And where are we now? Baker Mayfield sets the rookie record for touchdown passes. He's the toast of the league. He's got more national commercials than anyone I've ever seen in my life. I'm borrowing this joke from Shereen Williams, but I think he's got more commercials than he's got NFL wins. I think Baker's a good quarterback. Dak's better. Dak is clearly better. Dak's playing out of his mind. I don't even want to entertain it too much. I would much rather have Dak Prescott than Baker Mayfield.
I am with you on that. I mean, listen, like you said, Dak's playing out of his mind. And Baker, you can go ahead and plant your flag in that. Let's move on to the O-line, if you will. Our favorite topic of conversation. If you don't mind, Dave, I'm going to go ahead and take this one first because I'd like to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and get this out of the way, as it pains me to even be having this conversation with you. We all know the Great Wall of Dallas is a little bit battered at the moment. Well, Cleveland was having a rough year last year as well. Offensive tackles, they had team highs in the amount of sacks allowed and quarterback pressures. Their guards, well, they didn't do much better. So what the front office did was go ahead and go address that in the 2020 NFL draft. Drafting in the first round left tackle Jedrick Wills Jr. And I'm sure if you've listened to the draft show with David Hellman, you've probably heard all about him. They also went in free agency and grabbed Jack Conklin out of Tennessee. And when you have Austin Hooper in there, granted he's a tight end, but when he's helping block, yeah, they're okay at what they do, and they're doing it well. So while I can't go ahead and give them the trophy in this instance, they're closer than I expected.
No, you can give them the trophy, and it sucks. It goes back to the first segment. If the Cowboys' offensive line was completely healthy, they get the nod. Guess what? They're not. All things equal, I feel fine saying the Browns are in a better situation right now. It sucks to say. I think it's true.
All right, so how about running backs then? The guys that are going to go ahead and count on these all to move the chains. Dave, don't break my heart on this. I think you are.
Let's be very real. Ezekiel Elliott is the best back of all of the backs that are going to play in this game. But the combo of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb is in the conversation for best running back in the league, and Kareem Hunt has plenty of success in his own right. And guess what? Their combined cap hit is half of Zeke Elliott's. That is the beauty of finding guys for cheap. Chubb was a draft pick. Hunt wound up on the Browns on the cheap because of off-the-field problems. It's better bang for your buck. I'm sorry, Cowboy fans. It's better bang for your buck. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't say you're wrong. Nick Chubb is fourth in the league right now in rushing yards with 292. So, yeah, as an entire backfield, I think they get the nod in this one, and that pains me to say.
Okay, now, but we'll go right back in the Cowboys' favor with this one. Wide receivers. I am the LSU guy. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., the LSU duo up in Cleveland. They are my sons, but guess what? That duo is not good enough to overcome the trio of Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. I don't even think it's close because, again, bang for your buck, 3 versus 2. Tell me I'm wrong again, Kels.
Wow. You know what? They're not your sons anymore. Apparently, they are your stepchildren.
They're my estranged
sad development for your LSU sons. Coming up next, David tries to convince us that the safety solution is already on the roster. Stay with us.
Hey there, everybody. Kyle Yeomans here with DallasCowboys.com, and I encourage all of you Cowboys fans out there to check out Talking Cowboys. The podcast is every week live on the website and on all social platforms at 9:30 every weekday morning. We've got myself alongside Isaiah Stanback, who's actually won one of those during his playing career as a former Dallas Cowboy. He won it with the Giants, but we'll forgive him for that. We've also got Heckma Harrison along with Dallas Cowboys insider Rob Phillips. It's a ton of fun every weekday morning at 9:30. Check it out on DallasCowboys.com.
Welcome back to the Star at Night. I'm Dave. She's Kelsey. Kelsey, we spent the first segment of this entire show trying to break down the Cowboys' offensive line and fix it and plug in who and where. And you know what? To be perfectly honest, I'm bored. I'm bored with it. So I want to step outside the box. I'm not trying to fix the Cowboys' safety position with safeties. We've done all that. So I wanted to pitch this idea to you. I'm going to take a guy from somewhere else on the roster and fix the Cowboys safety spot. And the guy's name is Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, I said what I said. Number 21. He already wears a DB's number. And guess what? He hits like a ton of bricks. Have you seen this guy in pass protection? Have you seen him laying defensive ends out to protect Dak Prescott? You mean to tell me a guy that runs a 4.5 and hits like that can't play safety? I don't buy it. Put Tony Pollard in the backfield, put Zeke in the secondary, and prosper. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm not. I might be.
You're crazy.
You got something for me?
Strong safety, and I could maybe buy into that. But I'm concerned for your well-being. But
no,
you know what?
I think it would work.
While we're going to go ahead and sell in some crazy theories, Dave, I might have an even better solution for this team. The second best player in the backfield, sorry, Tony, Antoine Woods, my guy, is going to come in and play offensive tackle. It's happening. It's a thing. Listen, if Tyron can't come back, no worries, because we're going to move Zach to left tackle, and then Antoine's going to be right tackle. It's totally normal. Brian Waters, he played defensive lineman in college. The transition has been made before, and we're going to make it again. What can't my guy do? Go ahead and put him in the game. Let's go. Great Wall. Part 3.
I hate how good that point is. Like, you did your homework. Brian Waters hasn't played for this team since 2013. You dug way back in the vaults. But you're just pandering. Like, that's all. You're just pandering because we're gonna get Antoine on this show at some point, and you know it. And that's what's happening. And it's fine. Hey, I would be interested in playing Antoine at guard, honestly, because he hits like a brick too. If he wants to come in, maybe with the injuries they're dealing with on the offensive line, I don't think you're totally crazy, but I wonder if he's got the quick step to do everything that an offensive tackle does.
Listen, you know what? I think it's a possibility. I may or may not have checked with some sources to see if the skill set's lined up. It's not that far of a stretch. I'm just stating the facts. Am I going to be in the front office one day? Maybe. I'm just, putting it out there. I have brilliant ideas. This isn't the first. It's not going to be the last. But
all I'm saying, my Buckeye people watching this at home, go turn on the tape of Ezekiel Elliott playing special teams at Ohio State. The guy can hit. That's all I'm saying. And I would love to see it. Might not be the smartest roster management thing they've ever done, but I don't care. I'm just trying to have fun.
Hey, low-hanging fruit, Trayvon Diggs, a wide receiver.
He's done it before. That's where he started. Yeah, I mean, but they've got wide receivers. We need safeties. Zeke, help us out.
Team Twan for the win. Listen, I know we've been solving all this team's problems today. I hope you guys are taking notes. We're not done yet. Stay with us for more.
What's up, guys? I'm Ember Garcia and just want to invite you to check out Cowboys Break every day at 11:30 a.m. You got the boss man, Derek Eagleton. You got Nick Eman with the storytelling If These Walls Could Talk. You got David Hellman, our local LSU homer and eyebrow rubber. And then you got me, who just calls it as it is. So make sure to check us out at 11:30 a.m. on all Dallas Cowboys platforms.
That's all we've got for tonight, but before we go, Kels, we are in the middle of the Cowboys season, but unfortunately, another season has come to an end. So as the resident Stars fan, I'm going to let you sign off the Dallas Stars after a great season.
Yeah, listen, our other favorite Dallas team, unfortunately, did not end up taking home the hardware this past week. But you know what? We're okay with that because they had a fantastic run. They were pretty much underdogs the entire time. That Tampa Bay team did not suck. And let's face it, at the end of the day, Florida is big trash, and I wouldn't want to live there anyway. That's all I have to say about that. We love you, Greenies, and we will see you guys next time. For David Hellman, I'm Kelsey Charles. This has been the Star at Night.